YouTube?
Not yet. It's not up yet.
All right. Got it.
It just says sending
There we go.
data.
All right. So if you guys are going to watch on your phone, or if you want to pay attention, just turn your volume down.
Correct.
No, I put mine in.
All right. It does say that the broadcast has been interrupted. Is there going to be sketchy Wi-Fi? Is that what's going to happen?
I don't know.
I can make
Yeah.
sure I'm on it right
I
now.
have Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate is live on an event.
Got it.
So
Okay.
I can see it.
I can see it too. There we go.
And the sound sounds good. We're also live on YouTube. So we did come up on YouTube.
Right.
So YouTube, Porchcast Pottstown, Facebook, Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. We're at Hobart's Run today. Is somebody okay back there? What was that?
I don't know. She
Was that the executive producer?
Was she clearing her throat to get her attention?
Talking up a loogie back there.
Getting her attention?
Mom, are you okay?
You okay over there? Okay. I didn't know if you were trying to get our attention.
Holy. I think that might even have got it picked up on the microphone.
So we are here today
Deborah DeSantis is watching. Thank you for
on
tuning in.
Porchcast at
hi,
Hobart's Run. We were reminded by one of our viewers that we need to introduce ourselves because there might be new people watching. Maybe, if there's anybody new watching. So this is Porchcast Pottstown. This is Matt Green, and I am Amy Wolf. We are here today with the staff of Hobart's Run, right here in the... Is this considered the East End? What neighborhood are we in, other than the Hobart's Run neighborhood? I would say kind of East End-ish.
Kind of.
on the edge of Rosedale.
So the Hobart's Run office, which used to be, what did you determine it used to be? Some sort of a sandwich shop?
Tacos.
Well, back in the day, it was Miller's Tacos. And then it's been a bunch of other things. I guess it was a sandwich shop at one time. It was like M&K Construction or... No.
Devicon Group. Oh, right.
Devicon.
It was Devicon most
It was the
recently. Yep.
Devicon Group.
Right.
But I remember it as a kid as Miller's Tacos. That's how I remember it.
Right. They were before their time. Like
All
tacos
of
are really
these-
a very popular
Well,
thing
no,
right now. So they were a little bit before
I
their
don't
time.
remember the
You don't
taco
remember?
place. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No.
maybe I'm
I was
going
BC
way
before
back.
Kathy.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I'm going way back. People are saying that the video is not stable. I don't have any control over that. We are borrowing someone else's Wi-Fi connection. So bear with us. I did start a recording. So the recording will be smooth and I can post the recording up later. The live broadcast video might be interrupted and there's nothing I can do to control that.
Right. So apologies, folks.
Apologies.
Yes.
I would like
All
to
right.
know about the sound. If people can hear us, that would be nice to know as well.
Right.
We do have some people watching. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. Well, before we get into it with the Hobart's Run ladies, I want to just give everyone an update on where we were last week. We were at Lady Liberty Salon, and there were some questions about the location. I have lots of notes here.
Lady Liberty Salon is at 209 East High Street.
Yes,
Look at Matt just popping out that
and
information.
Todd Bainbridge was kind enough to send us a little history on that location, which did I over-organize? No, here we go. So thank you to Todd Bainbridge for sharing this history of 209 High Street, which is where we were last week at Lady Liberty Salon. Don't forget, if you would like a salon service, you can call Lady Liberty and make an appointment and mention Porchcast Pottstown, and you will get 10% off. Yes.
That was very nice of them to do.
It was very nice. So 209 High Street was Burden's Dining Parlor, and we have talked about Burden's Ice Cream on the show before.
That's correct.
Some of you may be familiar with the Burden Mansion, which is over on the other side of town, which is beautiful.
On Bird and Drive.
On Bird and Drive. Beautiful, yes. And it opened in 1912, but was sold to Quick Cells in 1914, and is likely the restaurant noted on the 1916 map. Quick Cells, which was a restaurant, remained there until 1939. It is noted as a bookstore in an 1880 Reading Times and 1885 map confirms. So it was a bookstore, then it was Burden's Dining Parlor, and then it was Quick Cells After Quicksel's closed in 1939, Boyer Shoe Store moved in there and remained there until 1970 when they moved to 235.
Which is now Juan Carlos.
Right.
Yes, which is now Juan Carlos. And Marjorie Rose Singer Shop moved in to 209 in 1971 and remained until at least 1978. So there we go. A little history
Amazing.
on 209 High Street. Thank you very much, Todd Bainbridge, our historical Pottstown liaison.
He's our Pottstown. He's our Porchcast Pottstown historian now.
Yes.
I dubbed him
Good,
that.
great,
'Cause it's
fantastic.
our show.
With his assistant, also your stepmother, Deb Penrod.
She's now the assistant.
Porchcast Pottstown, where we just make up titles and give
Yes.
everyone a name.
It's our show.
Yeah, we can do whatever we want.
She's the assistant executive producer, Deb Penrod.
Oh, she is.
She
Yeah.
is.
All right.
yeah.
great.
Because she's my stepmom.
Yeah.
My mom's
Oh,
the executive
got it.
producer.
Yeah.
Get
Not
it.
to be confused. Deb is not actually married to
I'm
Matt's
getting
father.
worried about what we're going to be after
I
this.
know. I was just thinking the same thing.
Very valued contributors.
There's
All right.
nothing I can do about the video cut
Great.
down
Well,
out, folks. Sorry.
Hopefully the
Maybe I'll get
sound is not picking up the motorcycles and it's just picking up our voices.
It sounds
Yeah.
good on the headset.
Good. Very good. All right. So, Twyla Fisher,
Yes.
Kathy Skitko, and Stephanie Tronner of Hobart's Run. So tell us what is Hobart's Run? Why does it exist? And how did you come into being and for what purpose? Yeah?
I'll start and pass it off to you, Kathy, when
Okay.
it comes to history before I was hired. How's that?
Okay.
So Hobart's Run is a neighborhood improvement district. It currently consists of approximately 900 parcels. We started out with 600 parcels. Where am I looking? Am I looking?
There's the
at-
camera.
Yeah.
You can look anywhere. You,
You
can look
might-
at the camera. You can look at, if it feels more comfortable to talk to a person, you can certainly
Yeah,
look
I
at
mean,
me or at Matt.
The whole idea is we're having a conversation here.
Right.
So I would not look at the camera if I was
Right.
you. Look at Amy.
ya.
I'm just down here
Yeah.
doing my video troll
He's like
thing.
the Wizard of Oz
Yes.
back there. Right.
Okay. All right. So, yes, about 900 parcels now. We started out with 600. And then a year and a half ago, actually more than that, almost, now we expanded west of campus, another 300 parcels over to Washington. So,
Got it.
before it ended at North Adams, the boundary line, and then we bumped over to Washington. So that's a dense residential area.
Sure
but
is.
we wanted our focus to
Probably
be
one of the
there.
densest residential areas in the town, in the borough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as we've been tracking crime, unfortunately, it was one of the densest areas for crime as well. So there's lots of reasons to kind of focus our efforts there. But Hobart's Run came about. The name, actually, I'll turn it over to Kathy to explain because sometimes people are like, "Is that like a 5K?" And I'm like, "Ooh, I'm trying not to get offended by that because we work really hard." I'm like, "No, not really. We
Right.
have a 5K,
But yeah,
it's not,
so it's got run
it's
in
not
the
a
name,
5K,
but it's
right,
not
right,
a,
right.
yes, correct.
So-
So you do, we'll later on we'll talk about the Hobart's Run.
Yes, definitely.
which has now
Definitely.
changed locations. But
Right.
anyway, yes.
Yep.
But Hobart's
On my
Run
list.
does focus on 5 main goals. The first, like any neighborhood improvement district, it's on safe, clean, and green. A lot of downtowns also focus on those 3 goals. So just trying to keep, first and foremost, the neighborhood safe. And we did that initially by putting out 11 cameras into the neighborhood, and 6 of them are tied into the police department directly.
Right.
And support the mesh network with the police. And then we'll talk a little bit more about these other initiatives as we go through it, but just keeping it cleaner and engaging residents to care more about the streets, especially in front of their homes, where sometimes it's just hard to take care of one more thing after a day at work or whatever.
Right.
But
Right.
just getting people excited about taking care of their
And that can be
streets, too.
difficult too with a transient population. So people that may not live here for very long, they may
right.
not feel really invested in the community
Yes.
because they're not owners. They're renters, and maybe they live for a year. If we're lucky, they live here for several years, and they become involved in the community. But we have a lot of coming and going, so that can be a challenge.
It is, and we're not alone in it. It's a
Sure.
challenge everywhere.
Hey, listen,
but-
I've been at my since 1997, and I still sometimes I go out to get my paper, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get my trash picker and pick up some trash out
Yeah.
here, because it can be a little bit of an uphill battle staying on top
yeah.
of the trash. So
We'll talk about trash more,
Oh
too.
yes, we will. So safe, clean, and green.
Green as in sustainable.
Sure.
Trying to work towards a bunch of other sustainable goals. And then inclusive is the one that we spend actually a lot of time in as well, just trying to get neighbors out of their houses, meeting each other, talking, having a vision, a collective vision for their neighborhood and where we can go as a community. And then invested is the fifth one, and that's looking at retail and commercial development. Kind of right along this strip right here is an example of where we are hoping to have more of a restaurant row or retail row as time goes on. So,
well, since I work just a stone's throw down there, I would love that. That would be very nice. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the history of where the name Hobart's Run comes from, and then why was the organization created?
Right. Well, as Twyla mentioned, with our expansion, she said that we were going further west of campus. Well, that campus, of course, is the Hill School.
Right.
And the Hill School created the initiative. We wanted to do more in the community, and Pottstown was kind of on the verge of really starting a revitalization, and we wanted to be a part of that and make a really meaningful contribution. We started talking about Hobart's Run by having community sessions where we invited community stakeholders and neighbors and other people to talk about this initiative, what it might look like, and determine what the goals were, what was really important to them, and out of that grew our mission. And when we decided to give this initiative a name, we didn't want to call it the Hill School Initiative or anything like that. Right. We wanted it to be something separate, very much tied into Pottstown.
Right.
And basically in trying to figure out kind of a geographic pin for the name or something like that, we found in a history of the Hill School a reference to Hobart's Run, which is a stream that runs underneath Pottstown, and it does empty out in the dell or the pond that's on campus. But we kind of thought it had a nice ring to it.
Right, and there's several other runs that run through Pottstown, yeah?
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
And they're offshoots of Sprogel's Run, the larger.
Some of them are, yeah.
Yeah, some of them are.
Like there's Goose Run that goes under the creek, under the town. There's one called Tannery Run or Tanner Run. That runs down like almost right where Pub is. There's a bunch of them along here. Right. Hence the problem with the collapsing arches.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So because they run under.
We build a town over a bunch of streams.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good guest to have on Porchcast.
Who's that?
Public Works.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'll add that to the list.
Right.
Yeah.
There are a lot of questions about these things.
Oh, I'm sure.
There are. Yeah, we'd have
to,
to, make it sexy and exciting. We talk about public works.
Working
Doug
on.
Yerger's not happy with me in this moment.
No, and I don't know if Doug Yerger wants to talk to anybody. Really, to be honest with you, I just don't get the impression he's a big chatty catty.
You never know. He could answer a lot of questions.
I am working on, along those lines, I honest to God am working on doing some maybe conversation. I've been getting contacted a lot with people who want to work with the homeless issues in Pottstown. And rather than just advertise another homeless advocacy group, I'd really like to get some people sat down and try to figure out some long-term planning on how we can work together to kind of alleviate some of the other issues that come up when we're serving the homeless and the underprivileged. So rather than just making an advertisement for another organization, I want to have a conversation. So you're on track with what we're going to do.
Right.
Real answers, real
Public
questions.
Works isn't on the schedule anytime soon, unfortunately.
It's not a bad idea.
I'm not saying it is at all. It's
you
a
might
great
get a lot
idea.
of people joining.
Right. Well, I would imagine there would be a lot of questions.
A lot of
questions.
Absolutely.
When are you fixing the pothole by my house? That kind of stuff. Yeah.
I found out, though, and the reason I mention it is because it's around the Hill School, and now some of them have been fixed, but when Hobart's Run first was starting out, the roads were terrible. And one year, they did a lot, like one summer. Do you remember? It was around here.
All of those summers of construction all run into each other.
Right.
It seems like there's always work going on. I mean, we got all new stoplights and all new
their time.
signs. So when you go to another town, do you notice how small their stoplights are? And I'm like, I go, what is this stop sign? Or stoplight? I can't hardly see it. And the street signs are really, especially when you're in places like in New England or down towards the city, older areas, and their signs are so. I'm like, well. Pottstown, we got big traffic lights, we got big signs, we got curb cuts everywhere, we got walk signs or walk buttons everywhere.
Right.
So,
but Doug explained to me though when I was asking about certain streets and like I said, can we write grants for that? And he was like, well, let me just explain a little bit. And it all made sense. And I'm like, people don't know this, but there is a whole plan for repairing these broken water. I'm not going to say that.
The
right.
water, the stormwater arches.
Stormwater arches.
Oh, sure. I mean, they're big projects.
Right. So it is strategic. I mean, they have it mapped out, but they can only do so much in a year with the funding they get from the state. And so, they're not going to just because somebody complains, act and pave that street when they know it's coming up in another year. But people don't know. This isn't. My point
it's not done haphazardly and randomly. It's they have to be very strategic about the way that projects are done. And some of them are borough projects and some of them are state projects, depending on the road and if it's a state funded road. So,
so I guess it's interesting. When the people I've shared that with, when they hear it, they're like, oh, well, that makes a little more sense. It's not like, they're just not taking care of
I know, but it's so fun to complain.
Yeah. Anyway,
so you gave this initiative the moniker Hobart's Run,
correct,
and started off what was your first big project, and what other projects have you done that you're most proud of, and ongoing efforts?
Well, one of the things obviously that is when we got the approval to hire a full-time director for Hobart's Run, and that was key. And that's how Twyla came to be hired, because this was not, this is a really important initiative, and as the school has recognized and our trustees have recognized, both on the Hobart's Run board, which includes members of the Pottstown community and also the Hill trustees. Something like this is not a 5 or a 10 or a 15-year initiative. This is a long-term initiative to really try to help the community. So hiring an executive director who is going to be a full-time staff person was really important, because it meant not just asking faculty members who were also enthusiastic about Pottstown to take this on in addition to the other things that they do. This is making it an independent
which we know that with staff and faculty already are 24/7 for most of the year. And with multiple hats and responsibilities. So you needed a dedicated person to make this their focus.
And Twyla started out; she was doing it alone, and then in 2018, I came over for my position as communications director for the Hill School, and I'm now focusing, I would say, 99.8% of my time on Hobart's Run, and we're still very, very busy. There is a lot to do. And Stephanie, who's here, is part-time, and we cannot do any of it without her. She's the one that keeps us rolling. So.
And then you moved here to this location just in the last year, right?
In December it'll be a year that it was purchased.
It looks great. It's such a really nice space.
Yeah. It's fun. Well, some of what I love, and this is Twyla is the one with the green thumb with the planners and things like that. That's one of the kinds of things our facade improvement initiative will help people to do at their property to show pride in their property. That and paint and porch repairs and things like that. So that's been a really important program. So that's probably one of the first ones we started.
Going way off
the
script
facade
here.
improvement grant. Yep. So we wanted to start some incentive programs just to get the word out. First of all, about what we're focusing on, and then offer a little bit of assistance. The facade improvement grant is only $500, but $500 can be that extra little kick.
Well, it could be a coat of paint. It could be some nice, potted plants or cleaning up if you've got a little bed out front or whatever. So, are those available a certain amount per year, or what's?
We'll probably move into that because right now we have 10 in queue. So that's kind of eating up our budget for that particular.
So you've got 10 people that applied and have been awarded.
They've been awarded, but everyone's just backed up. Like
Right.
they're having a hard time getting painters out,
Oh, sure.
or getting
Yep.
people to put in the new piece of sidewalk or whatever it is. So
Right.
And we've already granted quite a few. So that's 10 in line
yeah, we have
for new grants.
22, including those 10. It's 22 in all that we've done in a fairly short
That's
amount
great.
of time. So yeah, it's been fun. And then the homeowner incentive program is $5,000 for anyone who's currently renting and moving into Hobart's Run, and that can be used towards closing costs. So that we have our first one going to settlement in 2 weeks.
That's great. So that's anybody that is renting in Pottstown or renting anywhere.
Renting anywhere. I mean, we did start out in Pottstown, and then we broadened it a little bit
Okay.
because somebody
They
could
got some feedback from a local real estate
from somebody
agent.
whose initials might be MG.
Yeah,
Right.
his initials might be Matt Green, Ecklocker Real Estate.
Who said, what if somebody is like in North Coventry and moving into Pottstown and they're invested in Pottstown and now you're not going to get? I'm like, that's a fair point. So
Yeah,
we changed
definitely.
it.
Right.
We did.
And I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, Twyla, I don't think your first one is going to settlement because you and I tested the theory
Oh, we
a couple of
did.
years ago.
Yeah, I kind of got in trouble for that one.
You did.
I
I didn't, but you did. And I'm sorry that I got you into
You were
trouble.
the agent.
Yes. And I'm good at getting people into
Yeah.
trouble. But we did work on that together. And
We did.
It,
That's true.
even
it
though
sold
you
in
got-
one day that house sold.
well, yes,
Yes.
one day.
One day.
Even though you got in a little bit of trouble, it did test the theory that it was
did.
possible to do. And it would work, that people would be interested in it, and it would
Yes.
work.
And let's just say this was in 2016.
Yeah, I think so.
When homes were sitting on the market for 180, 200 days.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This home with a $5,000 incentive already attached to it. So like on the MLS, $5,000 if you buy this home.
Yes.
Sold in a day. And I'm like, oh, look at that.
Right.
Right.
Will you look
So,
at that?
well,
And then it was like, then
Yeah.
I had to, I reverse engineered that one because then it was coming back and saying to the school, like, yeah, we kind of got to give these people $5,000 because I kind of put it in the MLS remarks that they're going to get if they buy the house and it's sold in a day. And it's like, you did what?
Yeah.
I said,
So-
well, it worked.
As the
Yeah.
program's currently...
ask forgiveness, not permission, right?
Right.
I don't
As-
do that often.
Yeah.
As the program's currently developed, though, this will be your first one in the new, officially approved,
Yes.
100% sanctioned.
Yes.
We're not working with Matt
Trustee
Green
passed.
anymore, so we won't get in trouble. Right? Yeah.
Right.
I just wanted to clarify.
And I have to thank Alan David Heiser for that one because he was the one he knew about it and he
Right.
passed the word along. So
Do
word's
you
getting
think? Let me ask you a question on some of this stuff, and hopefully we're helping you out a little bit here. Are you having any challenges reaching the community with some of this stuff? Do you wish that you had a broader reach with some of these things going on? Are you happy with the response that you're getting?
out. We're overwhelmed. I mean, there's a
Okay.
lot of response.
we,
Yeah.
we do a lot with social media.
Right.
The Mercury has been wonderful about helping us publicize programs, and I think there's a lot of word of mouth. The other thing, which you may talk about too, is we have this monthly community leaders breakfast, the first Wednesday of every month, and community leaders come together, and it's very informal. But
I enjoy that.
we
I'm
share
sorry
a
that I
lot
missed,
of information.
this week, but you learn a lot of stuff.
Yes,
so
you do.
I like going
and it's
there
all
'cause like,
positive.
yeah,
It
It's
is.
all great stuff that's happening in Pottstown. I love it.
right.
So how would one become a community leader and invited to your first Wednesday meeting?
Have
First
to be
Wednesday of the
really,
month
really
meeting.
nice to the ladies in Hobart right now. I'm
Right.
kidding.
So who would they contact?
We're not. They can just reach out and ask to attend as a guest. I mean, I think people usually just they either gel with the crowd and want to keep coming back, or they feel a little bit disconnected and they're like, okay, maybe not for me. But
Right.
we're not like everyone who's wanted to visit or be part of it. We're like, sure. come
I
out.
guess what I'm getting at is I'm trying to make people feel comfortable that anybody who wants to participate can be a community leader. Like, you don't have to be some impotentate or have a title or
Right.
be blessed or be elected. Anyone who wants to contribute to society can be a community leader.
Sure.
Absolutely.
It did start out, though, as a little more of a select group, just because the point of it at the time, and I'll give Headmaster Zach Lehman credit for that because it was his idea. Soon after I was hired, he said, look, as far as I know right now, we don't have like a monthly gathering of the minds, like people who are executive directors of nonprofits, are government officials, kind of like
Leaders of the Pottstown School District.
yeah, like
Right.
we don't have a place on a regular basis where everyone is in one room and shares what's going on.
Okay.
So he said, I would like that to happen. Let's
Okay.
try it out. So he said, give me a list of 25 people. And I gave him a list of 25 people. And it was very small. Like it was pretty much, I don't know. It was, I don't know how to say it. Like it was kind of the who's who of Pottstown. It was like, if you're an elected official, if you're the head of the hospital, if you're the superintendent of the school district, whatever, then
If you're helping
coming to-
Twyla get in trouble.
Right.
then we don't bring you to the
No, I got
kidding.
I got invited. I will say
You did.
I
Yeah.
was.
So that's
I'm
how it
making
started
jokes.
out.
I'm
I
making
know.
jokes.
I appreciate that.
If,
but
if
it
that
did,
will get me in trouble with the headmaster, just tell me to cool it and I won't make as many jokes.
no. So, but it did start out that way and then grew pretty rapidly. And then at some point we were like, well, do we care if it's like 150 people? And when we were feeding everyone breakfast, we were like, yeah, we
Yeah, we kind of do.
Although
Right.
We never
But then-
had
Right.
150.
No,
But you may have
yeah,
but there may have been
Yeah.
been close to 50 there at
Yeah,
like
at
when you
different
were
times.
down there on High Street.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So
the point being, at this, right now, it's kind of taken on its own life, and so
Life.
it's fine
And
for
it's
people.
it's leaders of nonprofits and just some professional volunteers that are involved in a number of things. And
I guess maybe let me refine my point yet again. If you want to become involved, there's a way for you to become involved,
Yes.
right?
You show up the first Wednesday of every month at 8:30, wherever
yeah,
we're meeting.
and follow our Facebook page because we'll have more information. And also, Stephanie, you don't have a microphone.
No, you can have my-
But it's Stephanie
Solo
at
camera shy.
hobartonpottstown.org.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
email Stephanie.
Or
at
just contact Matt and I,
hobartonpottstown.org.
and we'll put you in touch with Stephanie.
Sure.
And if you're interested in, if you're a mover and a shaker, and you're interested in attending
a good way
those
to put it.
meetings,
Definitely.
And it's an hour. It's an hour. We don't go over it.
Yes.
Most of the time, never go
You're
over it.
really, really good
And it's
at the-
just
at the
like
time.
rapid fire information sharing. So you walk away and you're like, I have a pretty good sense right now of what's happening in the next 30 days in Pottstown or whatever. But it is a lot of information sharing that everyone takes out and disseminates with their own networks. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, good.
We do have some comments on the sound and the.
There's nothing I can do,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep. Sorry, folks. I'm not sure if it's any better over on YouTube.
It's not.
No.
Does
so-
it work to use a hotspot if you don't want to transfer?
Well,
You'll
that's
lose
kind of
everybody.
what we have
All
set
right.
up here.
Sorry.
Here's what I'm doing. I am also simultaneously recording this show. So from here on out, let's just have our conversation. It's being recorded.
And then we could put
People-
up the recording.
I will put
Yeah.
the recording up
Got it.
later. That will run smooth. The other thing that we've noticed over time is that even though the live recording might be interrupted, when Facebook saves it, you don't see any of those interruptions.
Nice.
It's
Great.
seamless. So check back later at Matt Greenick Locker Real Estate and Porchcast Pottstown on YouTube, and you will see the entire show uninterrupted.
Yeah. I'm just putting that in the comment. Yeah.
That being said, I'm going to turn on the slideshow.
Okay.
So if you do want to try to bring Facebook up, you will see some of the slides start to come through. They might get a little bit interrupted, but you'll see them.
chopping in and out. Yeah,
I don't
a
want to
little bit.
stream while you're on the same network streaming.
Okay.
Ah.
Just tell
So-
us what you're showing.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll
so
from
let's
there.
go through some of this stuff. You're going to be having the Hobart's Run annual 5K fundraiser.
The Hobart's Run.
Yeah, I see that.
The Hobart's
Did you
run
run
by
one?
the river.
Yes.
Hobart's run by the river
Yes.
this year.
Yeah. Yes.
We're moving it from kind of out of the neighborhood, which sounds, ironic and maybe why are you doing that? But
Right.
we decided that, first of all, it was kind of hilly around here. If you're not an avid runner, we got complaints from even people who are kind of avid runners because the route went up Grand Street,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Sure. It's like one of the
yeah.
biggest hills.
And then
Yeah.
up again, Morris, and it it was
Yeah.
challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want people to have
it was.
fun.
So,
Right.
and then also closing all the streets was expensive, and that or at least getting police.
But there's a
and
lot of logistics involved with closing streets. You have to get permits,
Yes.
and you have to
You
get
do.
barricades, and you have
And
to get
volunteers at each
security,
point,
and yes.
So we
Yes.
have decided to take advantage of our beautiful Schuylkill River Trail
So
and go down
beautiful.
to the river.
Perfect.
And it's pretty flat and straightforward. You run a mile and a half out, turn around, come back. And so we'll be starting at the Rotary Pavilion. It's on November 14. It's a Sunday at 9 a.m. We're hoping it's not freezing cold, but the way this weather has been, it'll be great, you know?
It'll be tank tops and
great.
shorts weather, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So that's coming up, and we're really excited to. And we did change the name. Before it was the Hobart's Ram Run. We were trying to incorporate Hill kids, Hill alumni, even Hill parents, and so we kind of made it about the Ram, so our mascot at Hill.
Right.
And then, so now we just said we're going to run by the river, kind of play on the name Hobart's Run by the River. So not a run, but a run.
Right. Okay.
We
So
are looking for sponsors
All right.
for the race.
Got
and,
it.
The reason we're doing that is that the sponsorship funds will all go back into our community programming. So,
Right. So that was one of the questions I was
Yes.
going to ask is how do you fund all of these great programs? You've got the grant program and you've got, the $500 facade program or the $5,000 homeowner initiative or the
we
other
have a
the
business incentive grant as well.
Right, which there was some place that just opened
Yes,
down here
Soul
recently.
Shoes,
Right, Soul
about
Shoes.
2 or 3 doors
right.
down,
So those things are all funded by these kinds of fundraisers.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, they are, yes. We do. There is a spin-off. It's not super huge, but of an endowment that is allocated towards Hobart's Run initiative. So we do have that every year.
Right.
We write grants. We have events like this. We try to be just really creative. And honestly, we run things on a shoestring budget pretty much. Like we don't,
definitely do.
I'm always really impressed at what we pull off with what we have. So we have lots of volunteers and people in the community are great as well.
Right. So if any businesses are interested in sponsoring, they can contact Stephanie at hobartsrunpottstown.org, hobartsrunpottstown.org, and sponsorships are available at the $500 gold level, $250 silver sponsor. Wolf Baldwin will be a silver sponsor.
Awesome.
If you
Thank
don't
you.
hear from me, rattle my
We know
cage.
where you
Yeah,
live.
shake my
walk
tree.
out and knock on your
But
window.
I will pop doing my payables tomorrow, so I'll pop a check in the
that's
mail
great.
for you.
We'll
Maybe I'll
appreciate
walk
it.
it down, save myself 53 cents.
There you go. Yeah. And there are forms on our website, Hobart's Run Pottstown, under news and events.
Got it.
You can sign up to run.
Yeah, I will not be running.
Okay.
This is a
Well,
payment in lieu of
sign up
running.
to sponsor it.
Yes, payment in
Fair,
lieu of
that's
running.
fair.
Yeah, not running. Not
So
even if somebody
also-
was chasing me.
Also on the screen just came up is Fed on Blanc.
Ah,
So
Yes.
maybe you want to talk about that. Now, is that another fundraiser for you guys,
No.
or just another?
I'm here and I'm picking up what you're laying down.
yeah.
It's just an event that
One of those
you organized.
inclusive
Yes.
goal events. So we work with Pottstown Area Industrial Development Inc., paid, and we co-sponsor it every year. Or co-direct it, co-run
Right.
it, whatever.
Yeah, co-organizers.
Organize it. And that was just a way, honestly, in the very beginning, it was like, hey, there are other places doing this. Why don't we do it? Lancaster does a great one. Philly does a great one. When I was working in the city of Reading, we tried to get it off the ground and just couldn't get it off the ground. So I was like, well, it was a smaller community. And Peggy and Sheila and I at the time were the ones trying to organize it. And it just, again, took on a life
Oh
of
my
its
gosh,
own.
talk about the hottest ticket in town.
Yes, it is.
I would be lying if I didn't say one of the main reasons I sponsor it is so that I can be guaranteed to get tickets. The pictures are always great because
Yeah.
it is such a diverse attendance, and you
Yes.
look at it. You look at everyone who's attending, and it is just a complete cross section of Pottstown. It's such a good
beautiful.
It's so
representation
positive.
of Pottstown and
Yeah.
our Smith Family Plaza, which is so beautiful.
It is.
The most beautiful spot in Pottstown, one of them anyway. And you've got the lights hanging up, and people come out
Yep.
with their picnics. I mean, people were like busting out their good china. Tammy and Phil Vaughton are like busted out their good china, and there's like candelabras
I
and
know.
beautiful flower
Gorgeous.
arrangements. And I was not there this year because I was like
I
dying.
know, we missed you.
Dying.
We missed you. Oh my gosh.
I was so sad. So sad.
It is a great event. It really is.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Sandy Unisco. She's the one who takes those beautiful photos.
Really great.
And also Louis Rieger of High Street Music got the fantastic jazz ensemble that performed this year. And I look forward to it.
It's a really fun, great, positive event.
It is.
Did you have, was there fully 500 people there this year? Because the previous year there was some empty tables, like people had reserved, but then they didn't come. So was it pretty packed to the gills?
It was pretty full.
Yeah,
there were people who didn't come at the last minute, which is always disappointing because those people or people who have reserved tickets and they just, for whatever reason, they can't make it. So.
Yeah, I did throw mine back in the pot, though. I did let you guys know that they were available, so somebody could take my spot.
Yeah. No, and I think what happened was by the time people were pulling out kind of the last minute, and we were trying to let people know, actually, I say we, and it was Melissa Shaneline, God bless her, who was in charge of all of that, but was trying to then call people. Sometimes they were like, we already have plans, or it was just short notice. So we're talking about how to tweak all of that for next year. And also people grabbed a lot of tickets early on. Like they were like, there wasn't really a cap. Well, kind of, but people could say 15 tickets. And we're going to change that next year too. Like,
Good. So this is the third year, right? So you just kind of fine tune it.
I was going to say if we had a better stream, I knew you were going to get some feedback tonight about the tickets. So why don't you kind of went quick.
Yeah.
So slow down a little bit and tell people maybe some of the ideas you're hatching out to try to make obtaining the tickets go a little bit more smooth. So possibly limiting, that's what I heard?
Yeah, I mean, people have to, you can only reserve, this is what we're talking about, so it's not set in stone, but you reserve for your immediate family. You can't just do family and friends or a bunch of the gals. Everyone's got to just register for themselves or their kids or whatever, but no more, large groups at one time.
I think it's perfectly reasonable to have a 6-person limit. I mean, I just bought a Groupon for something, and I was capped off at 5 tickets. So that's all I could get on my Groupon. So I think that's reasonable.
There is talk of expanding the number next year.
Wow.
But this year we had to keep it at 500 because of COVID concerns, and we wanted to be responsible.
When you're in the planning phases of it, so many months out, this year in particular, what are the restrictions going to look like if there are any? So when you're planning and you're putting it into place, there might have still been county restrictions. I know that's how it was for the 4th of July. We're planning it in March and April, and we were still, the park was at 25% capacity. We're how are we even going to, so you're planning in advance and hoping for the best, right?
But that's really the biggest change. I mean, that we'll be able to, if we bump up the number, we would use the bike lanes, which we are allowed to use. We can't, even though that portion of East High Street is blocked off because it's a state road, we're not allowed to use the entire street, actually.
Yes.
Just the bike lanes. So, but if you line up tables there from Borough Hall to Blue Elephant, you get another, a lot more people in there. So we are talking about what that's
a lot of tables. That's a lot of tables and chairs to set up and
is.
break down. Yes, where's that ROTC program at the high school when you need it? Right.
Well, this year that was part of why we charged $10 because we got smart about not doing it ourselves. That was crazy.
Now you're singing my song, sister. I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
And we thought we wanted to keep it very reasonable, though. We thought $10 would cover our expenses. It is, as Matt asked, is it a fundraiser? Absolutely not. It's just about getting people together and showing off Pottstown and showing off the downtown.
Yeah, it's great. The pictures are just. Just look at it just warms your heart.
Yes.
It's like looking at pictures of the 4th of July parade. You just this is so
this is our town.
This is our town. It makes me really proud.
Go forth events, same way.
So I'm really going to force you into a shift here. All right.
Yeah.
So we went Fanon Blanc.
I'm trying to hit the
we have to hit.
And we need
Edgewood.
Okay,
I'm throwing
curveball.
curveballs.
All right, throw it out. I'm going to swing.
You'll be able to segue my curveball into Edgewood. Promise.
Okay.
Nice.
I will do it.
All right. So we went Fanon Blanc. We went fancy. All right.
Yeah.
Now we got to take it back down to the streets. We got to get gritty.
Yeah. All right.
So I see on one of the slides that there's a tool share program. Explain to me about how the neighbors of Hobart's Run can access the tool share program.
I had no idea that this was a thing.
Yep. All they need to do is contact us with
At Hobart's Run.
At Hobart's Run through the website, or and we have new email addresses recently, so it's super easy. Twyla at hobartsrunpottstown.org, Kathy at hobartsrunpottstown.org, Kathy with a C, and Stephanie at hobartsrunpottstown.org. And just send an email and say, the people on my block, we want to hold a cleanup. We're tired of the trash, and we have trash pickers, we have bags, we have beautiful orange vests that you can wear.
For
we
safety.
have gloves, and we will let you pick these things up and bring them back and do your own cleanup.
You can keep the gloves.
Yeah.
So the gloves can stay with you and your
Yes.
neighbors.
But they're nice gloves. They're like rewashable, and they're
So these are like
padded.
hand tools and garden tools that
Yes.
people can use to beautify their block, beautify their neighborhood, pick up some trash, conduct I would say curb appeal projects. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So, and the tools, I've seen the tools. A bunch of the tools are stored at Edgewood Cemetery. There's
Yes.
your segue.
There, nice.
Very
Well
nice.
done. Well done.
Many of them are stored there, and many are stored right here too.
Okay,
So
okay.
they're easy to get, easy to pick up. You just pull in the driveway, and we'll get you loaded up and ready to go.
Right.
So, would you like me to talk about Edgewood
I
Cemetery,
would,
Nat?
but my memory was just jogged because I think that you've been nominated to be the next Edgewood Cemetery president.
We will not talk about
Is Andrew
that.
paying you?
I'm just remembering from my
That is
previous...
one hat you will not be putting
Oh my
on.
gosh, no! And I'm really involved with it, and I love it. But I'm not running for president of Edgewood Cemetery by any stretch of the imagination.
Despite the nomination from the current president, you're not accepting the nomination.
I am not
Is that
accepting
what
the
we're
nomination.
hearing?
Andrew, that
That's
is
what
very
you heard.
squirrely of you to do that on Porchcast.
Yes,
I'm
is
disappointed.
Is he putting that in the comments? So I'll
No,
have to talk to him.
he talked about that on his episode.
Oh,
when we went to talk about the
gosh.
Iron Globe.
Yes.
We brought that up.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I thought that
Okay, I
maybe
take back the
tonight at
squirrely.
Hobart's Run, I could get some breaking news.
No.
But clearly...
No, there's no news breaking.
No breaking news.
The only thing that's
no,
going to be breaking
no.
is like
But-
something over your head.
Over Andrew's head.
Over your head or Andrew's head if you bring that up again.
Exactly.
Listen, I'm just the messenger. Please. I'm just a journalist here. Just looking for the scoop. That's it.
You can't
Okay,
say that
so-
with a straight face, so
so-
it doesn't
no.
work.
So
So
while
here's the hot
yes,
story.
yes.
The hot story. Here's your scoop.
Okay.
Is that we are exactly
Breaking news on
He
Porchcast.
does sound effects. That's so nice. But yes, we're having another cleanup at Edgewood Cemetery, October 23rd. And because we had an art fair last spring as part of the whole cleanup community day, and that was such a success, we're going to do another art fair. That's
great.
The last I heard, we had a Edgewood meeting earlier this week. We're up to at least 27 vendors.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're
That's-
good vendors.
that's
really
great.
good things.
That
and
is
it's a great time
fantastic.
because the
Good.
holidays are coming.
Yeah.
So we're still accepting vendors if people would like to sell their wares, their arts and crafts. All that information is on the Hobart's Run and also the Edgewood Cemetery page of who
I
they
also
contact.
put it up at Matt Green at Glocker
Thank
Real
you.
Estate.
Fantastic.
You can
That's
find it
great.
there.
Yeah.
And I just want to throw this out for people. The Hobart's Run pages are very easy to find. If you go into the search bar on Facebook and type in Hobart's Run, their Facebook page is going to pop up.
That's a
If you go
miracle
to-
how that works.
If you go to Google and in the search bar put in Hobart's Run, guess what happens?
Does it take me to the Hobart's Run page?
It does.
Excellent.
So super easy to find. I agree with you that you guys are easy to find. You're all over social media. I see your stuff all the time, so people should not have a hard time finding
Right.
you.
Right.
So for those that don't know, though, what is the deal with Edgewood Cemetery? Explain to us what's going on over there.
Yeah, well, the cemetery was pretty much abandoned by the person who was the caretaker or kind of had taken over control of making sure the cemetery was cared for back in 2012. So they lost the caretaker. For those who lived around here, it really fell into really terrible disrepair.
it was looking pretty rough,
It was like
right.
a jungle. So a group of volunteers started trying to take care of it and fix it. And Andrew Monastro, the current and forever president of Edgewood Cemetery, he was literally trying to mow the I think it's 12 acres?
12 or 13 acres.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's out there with his lawn tractor.
He would
little
drive
lawn
his
tractor.
lawnmower down
And-
High Street,
right.
down from his
So-
house down to the cemetery.
Right. So about 2018, I remember Twyla and I had breakfast with Andrew and to learn more about the situation, and we got involved in a big way in terms of supporting the efforts there, and just started brainstorming and came up with the idea of having a community cleanup, which the first one went really well, and we are constantly trying to raise funds because it costs between $15,000 to $20,000 a year to maintain Edgewood. And when I say maintain, that's getting the
That's
grass
just
mowed.
mowing the
12
grass.
acres, which
Yeah.
people don't know
Yeah.
and can hardly believe, but it's
Right.
12 acres.
Right, and
I
it's not easy to
absolutely
mow,
believe
you know,
that.
because you can't just go in straight lines up and down. You're getting around tombstones and
in addition
weed
to that,
whacking.
I mean, outside of that $20,000 a year, there's stones that need to be righted and
Yes.
reset, and that's a huge. I was going to say undertaking, but
I like what you did there, though.
that's very good.
it's a huge effort. It's
catch.
really expensive, and it's
Yes.
for a lot of these graves and the stones, the families are long gone, or they're just. It's not like there's living relatives that can contribute to that perpetual care
True.
effort.
True. So we're trying to raise money, and so we're going to do the art fair. We get a small, and I'm told it's very reasonable for folks that do these fairs and stuff. A small fee to provide a space for them, and we're going to sell raffle tickets and try and get some more money. And I should mention that Hobart's Run is contributing $2,500 toward the maintenance fund as
very
a
nice.
matching challenge. So
okay.
if we can raise another $2,500, we will do an additional $2,500.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Great.
yeah,
So
So you're
it's
throwing a
important.
gauntlet.
And
So
Andrew
people gotta
talks about
step
this
up.
a lot, and I think it's so true, and certainly connects with everything we're trying to do in the community. That the way a community cares for its dead and cares for very public properties like that, it says a lot about the community. So
Right.
and it's also it's right on High Street. So prospective businesses coming in, if they see a overgrown,
Right.
horribly maintained cemetery, it says a
it's
lot.
a beautiful cemetery. It's very historic. There's a lot of
It is.
people from Pottstown buried there. There's some of the Potts family is buried
Yes.
there.
Right.
And it's as cemeteries go, it's a really neat, pretty place. Even just to take a walk through, or walk through with your dog or whatever. It's really a cool place.
Yeah.
It has provided us with a lot of information
Sure.
for the show.
Yep.
We've talked about it extensively on other episodes. It
Yeah.
has been featured in multiple history lessons that we've done on Porchcast Pottstown.
Yeah.
So
It's
we're
an
going to keep
important-
trying to help you out as best we can.
We appreciate it. So
Yeah.
October 23rd,
Yep.
volunteers will get a free lunch courtesy of Jack Cassidy's, which is
Oh,
right
Last year
across
the
the
lunch
street.
That's so
was
very
good.
nice.
And Little It's.
Very
Little
nice.
It's is going to help
He's
too.
so generous, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
and I
yes.
think we're
Yeah.
going to have some live music. Twyla's
Oh,
very talented
wow.
daughter.
Twyla's daughter.
Does Twyla's daughter know yet?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'll
She does now.
I'm going to
Yeah.
sing with her on a couple of them. But
Are you
she's
going to
so
play the
sing.
mandolin?
I am going to play the mandolin.
Are
for
you?
a song
Yeah.
or two.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here, folks.
More
Go down
breaking
and
news on
yeah, breaking
Porchcast.
news. Go down and
So-
see Twyla play the
it's
mandolin.
it's a fun day. It
Yeah.
really is a fun day,
Yeah.
and it helps out a lot.
Good.
Right. So,
Trash cans, and we're getting up to the end of the hour, so we
We
need to talk
are.
about
Wow.
trash cans.
Oh my goodness.
so I think we'll go to the end of the hour just talking about Hobart's
sure.
Run.
And then I'll
because
bust through some
If
news,
we're
yeah.
going to be posting this episode later,
Yeah.
the news won't be fresh.
Got it.
So we'll
Yep.
give them the majority of the time.
Absolutely.
So the one thing that I was going to note that I noticed as we were sitting here, which is part of their program, and we can segue this into trash cans too, is the lights popped on.
Yes.
Here, right? So
Part of
as-
the clean, green, and mean. No, clean, green, and
Hopefully
clean,
we-
safe, clean, and green.
Hopefully we always
Right,
love
yeah.
what we do and don't become mean.
Yeah, we're lean and mean.
Yeah, lemon,
Our
like,
little change,
lemon
yes.
mean like getting it done.
Yes.
Mean, yeah. Okay. Mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the lights
Mm-hmm.
and the trash reduction are part of that community safety concept, right? We
Right.
talked
Yes.
about why you're interested in helping Edgewood Cemetery. You have this broken window syndrome, right?
Yeah.
So if things don't look like they're well taken care of, people get the impression that no one cares,
Yep.
and
And
then
they
they
don't
get
wanna-
up to mischief because they don't think anybody cares.
right.
So tell us about these lights and the security cameras, because I think those two things go hand in hand, correct?
The lights here or lights in general?
The lights came on here, and it made me think about the lights.
So that would be
Yeah.
something that if somebody got one of those grant, those $500 grant, that would be something that they could put in, and these are timered, right? So they come
Yes.
on at a certain time and then go off at a certain time.
And they're nice
which, when
to-
you live in a busy neighborhood, is
Yeah.
much better than having motion sensors.
Yes,
Right.
true.
Yeah.
And they're nice, bright LED lights. So that is another program that kind of took off in the beginning, and then I don't know, people just didn't leave their porch lights on. But we were copying a program from Lancaster City called Keep the Light On, and we were handing out LED bulbs. Well, they were still pretty expensive in 2016. Now they're a lot cheaper.
Right.
But at the time, we were like, here, you can have an LED bulb. We'll even help you put it in your front porch light. But then we were asking you to keep your light on at night or go buy a sensor or something. But please keep your porch light on, because if everyone on the street does that, it makes a huge difference. So we did that, and then I haven't done it as much through COVID and all that. But yes, the facade improvement grant can go towards lighting. Definitely encourage that. We applied for a state grant that put 5 new lights on Beach Street and really lit up Beach Street down by the
Sure
Ricketts
did.
Center. So
Sure did.
that was
It
part of
looks
the lighting
great down
initiative.
there.
Yeah. That was a multimodal grant with the Commonwealth Finance Authority, and so we're happy about that. We replaced some sidewalks there as well.
Yeah, it's looking good over
Thank you.
in that area.
Yep. So yeah, this makes a big difference, and if we can incentivize even along here the businesses to invest, and again with help of the grant, hopefully it'll give them incentive to do so. If we could have this, like in all of these businesses, it would light up the whole block, and it would look really great. So
And be
this-
safer.
And be safer. And it's the same thing in neighborhoods. So that's definitely part of it. We also look at the lights that are older, that the Pico lights, like this one's out right now, or it hasn't come on. But so we report back to the borough when lights are not working well in Hobart's Run, and try to have those bulbs replaced. So yeah, that's part of it, the lighting. And the cameras, that was an investment from the Hill School. That was a $100,000 investment that the Hill School gave the borough to purchase 6 more cameras added to the mesh network, and they're monitored 24/7 by the Pottstown Police Department.
There you go.
It's been good.
So we're covering that. So we got we have as much time as we want left, but by the hour we have about 5 minutes or so.
Okay.
But I don't want to rush the conversation, because it's been a big topic of conversation of late, both on Facebook and in the social media space, in the newspaper, if you're still following the newspaper. Let's talk about trash, right? It's a big problem in Pottstown. So talk about the trash can project. We touched on some of the community cleanup stuff that you guys are helping people with, the tools share and everything else, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the trash can project.
Well, it works, and Stephanie can attest to it, because she cleaned up a trash can today. God bless her. There was one that was really, really overflowing, and we actually, had to take it back, and we're going to put it somewhere else, but because it just wasn't getting emptied out. And so when you are a trash can adopter, if we reserve the right to say, look, you're not emptying it on a regular basis, we're going to put it somewhere else. But Stephanie, God
You're really
bless
just
her.
a trash can foster parent. And
You
if
are.
you're not caring for it, then
If
we're
you're
going to
a
place your can
bad
in a new
parent.
foster home. Right.
Right, and that has not happened.
No.
That has
You're
not
right.
happened.
No,
And
it
actually,
rarely
this was not really the fault of the
No.
adopter.
Yeah.
The location was a very busy location,
And it probably needed to be,
people were
like, emptied
kind of
every single day.
abusing it. Like
Yeah. It was
when you
bad.
see a trash can overflowing, you probably should go find another trash can, not just dump trash can.
Like,
to-
they're probably
to
bringing out
trash
their whole
nearby.
kitchen bag and squeezing it in. I mean, it was overflowing.
That's an
But
issue
in
that happens,
general, just to
Yeah.
keep this a little more positive, the adopted trash can program has been super successful. A lot of it's word of mouth.
Yeah, the good news is that if there is a trash can there,
Wow.
people will use it.
They will.
Right.
They will.
So if it's there, they will use it.
They will.
And
Yeah.
that's the really good
Right.
news. And so the more you put out, the more people
Right.
will use them.
And we have, is it 60 trash cans
60.
now?
60.
60 through Pottstown. And
We
still
started with 4.
started with 4, and was that
That was
maybe
2016.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I thought
Actually,
it was
it might
even
have
more.
been 2.
I think it was even
It
more
might have been-
recent.
Now, we've had one for quite some time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were one of the first
Yeah.
adopters.
Yeah.
I got
We started
one.
on Beach Street.
I started out with one at King and Washington.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was the first round that you
Yeah.
guys did.
Right. The first
Well,
big round.
and
anyway.
the cool thing is, for people that feel like if I had a trash can in front of my house, people would not litter, and all the feedback we've gotten has been so positive, like literally an overnight change in
Yep.
the amount of street litter.
Yep.
But the trash cans are provided to homeowners or businesses free of charge, and we will. Usually it's Stephanie. We'll deliver the trash can. We have a heavy paver to keep it, firmly planted. We'll give you a
Right.
roll of bags
Right.
to start out, and it's all you have to do is pledge that you will maintain the trash can and switch out the bags.
Right.
And we started doing this, financing it right out of Hobart's Fund. Well, then it was so popular, it was getting pretty costly because the trash cans are nice, solid trash cans.
Yeah,
It costs
I will say that,
Yeah.
that they don't blow over.
No.
The lids do not come off. They're very sturdy. They're very stable. They stay right where they're supposed to stay,
Yes.
and they don't get filled with water either. Like
Right, they have
open
a
trash can
nice
does.
lid. So we decided we're going to ask for sponsors for the trash cans so we
Right.
can really grow this.
Sure.
And I'm looking at one of our key sponsors, Mr.
Yes.
Matt Green of Blocker
I
Real
think I'm
Estate,
responsible
but-
for about 1/10 of the trash cans.
Nice.
That's Porchcast math.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you've sponsored a lot, and we really appreciate
Yeah.
it. But
Well, I had this concept that I wanted to mark my territory. I'm just going to be honest. And since I'm a little OG, my OG ways came out.
right.
So I picked a neighborhood, and I was like, I want them in my neighborhood to mark my territory.
Right.
So I did that first. And then it just kept coming up over and over and over on the show as we were having these discussions. Like literally, people were interrupting the discussion that we were having to talk about trash. So I'm big with challenges and throwing down the gauntlet and all of this stuff. So I finally threw down a gauntlet to these people that kept interrupting my show with conversations about trash. I said, if you adopt it, I will buy it for you.
Yeah, sponsor it.
So that did generate 2 more requests for trash cans. And we'll see if any more come in. But I was happy to do that. 1, because I want to be contributor to society and help clean up trash. 2, I wanted to mark my territory because my name's on.
yes,
This is like throwing up a gang sign.
yeah.
Right.
Well, if you
Yes,
sponsor
trash cans are your
can,
gang sign.
Yeah.
you will
And
get
then
your name on the trash can
You
with
get
the
your name
Hobart's
on
Run
it
label.
with your logo or
right.
whatever else.
Well, and
then-
think about it. It says that you care about the community.
Yes.
Well,
it's
sure.
not
It's not
Absolutely.
just an advertisement. It's like, I care enough about the community to help address the trash problem.
Right. And I really did want to use it as a method to help people kind of put their money where their mouth was. And if they didn't have the money, I'm willing to give them the money so that then they can take action. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm glad that
Yeah, and that's an example
can
of a
participate.
very easily understandable program that is very visible, that makes a very visible difference.
Right.
And it's same with the front porch grants and like it's like a boots on the ground effort, and all of those things that we might not notice it as much when it's nice, but we sure notice it when it's not so nice.
Right.
That's
so
a great point.
so we don't notice the trash cans when they're working.
Yeah.
But where
Right.
there's a need for a trash can, we notice it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of this like unsung
Yeah.
hero situation, but it makes a big difference, and people might not even realize that that's why things look better.
Yeah.
So
You know.
over the next in the short term, or as soon as we can get them on, we're going to have Tamara Charles
Yep.
and
Nice.
Jamie
Jamie
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yeah.
from Pottstown Community Action.
Very
And I know right now that they're out in the community,
Sure.
part of which is in the Hobart's Run, trying to get some feedback from the community about what can be done to address certain issues. So obviously the trash cans are part of that, right? The tool share program is part of that. You're helping cleaning up Edgewood. Do you have any ideas, or do you want to brainstorm for a couple of minutes on maybe some other things that people, not just in Hobart's Run, but throughout the community, can do to address this trash issue? Because it is sometimes disappointing when you spend a few hours cleaning up trash and you literally come back the next day and it's trashed again. So have you guys collectively or individually thought, what more can we do? I guess that's really my question. What more do you think we can do?
Well, I just want to note too that the Adopt a Trash Can program, it's not just for people who live in Hobart's Run.
Right.
Well, that's
We
a really
have
good
them
point.
throughout
I
Pottstown.
do not live in Hobart's Run.